Hi Aries friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my March 2020 horoscope report for you. This month we have birthdays coming up for you. I want to talk some about that. I'm also going to talk about the general climate of the month, how that's likely to affect Aries placements. I'm going to give you important dates to note, and some of them are very important. And I'm going to talk about Saturn moving into Aquarius and what that means for Aries. So the first thing that I want to talk about is that I'm happy to report that once again this month there are more sweet aspects than salty ones. And when that happens, it leaves a tone for the month that is sweeter. Now, whether that translates down or drizzles down into your individual experience, we don't know if it's going to do that, but it is one factor in the total astrological picture of your experience that is a plus. Okay, so we say yay for that. The aspects are occurring in the Earth, or most of the aspects that are great are occurring in the Earth and water signs. Those signs are not in as much harmony for Aries placements. You might notice in general that March of every year tends to be a little bit emotional for you, not always in the way that you want it to be, although sometimes it can be, like just sweet, sweet emotional connections and togetherness, and there's definitely things that can happen there that are very positive. But for multiple reasons, the planets moving through Mercury or through Pisces, including this retrograde, which is occurring, Mercury in retrograde, is definitely extra emotional for Aries, and especially because this is also all occurring in the 12th house. And the 12th house is the house of your fears and your unconscious mind. So don't get concerned. I have to tell you all this so that you're prepared, because it's similar to like carrying an umbrella if it may rain. If it happens, cool, you got the umbrella, you knew, you were prepared. If it doesn't happen, it's fine. But the 12th house is like those areas in our being that want to be healed or conquered, or dragons to be slayed. And so Aries, and I know this very well because I have Aries rising, so I'm there with you in this report. And I know that in general, I try to schedule Marches really light, because I know that either for me or for people around me, the emotions are going to run really high. And I usually like to be active, right? Aries energies, we like to have forward movement and do stuff and, just kind of work our stress away instead of, sitting and feeling in it. But sometimes this is the time of year, where one of the times of the year where we kind of have to slow down, be with our feelings more, overcome some things, do some inner work, and in order to get the gold. And so this is very purposeful from the universe, because before birthdays, which is a very exciting time when the universe is more receptive to your desires, because the sun in the chart represents your wishes, or it represents your wants. So birthday wishes are astrological because they relate to your desires. And so when the sun in the sky gets back to the same point that it was at in your chart, and this is actually even true if you have your sun as your rising sign, as I do, or you have Aries moon or Aries rising, even if we're not having our birthdays at this time, we're having the sun cross over our Aries placement. And it has a similar like new beginnings effect. But before we get to the new beginnings, which won't be until starting at the end of March and then into April, we've got to go through the yuck, okay? And we also have to go through the, it's kind of like being confronted with the things you don't want, so that when you have power to do something, you know clearly what you don't want, so that you know what you do want. That's how I see it being purposeful from the universe, is that in order to make the most of this time of manifestation, you have to kind of get more clarity around what it is you want to create and what it is you want to let go, and do some work around that. So you're going to have an opportunity to do that. The good news is that we've got this amazing open window from March 30th through April 9th, because this is a year full of personal planet retrogrades. Personal planet retrogrades are Mercury, Venus, Mars. They don't always happen every year. Mercury happens between 3 and 4 times every year, but Venus retrograde doesn't happen every year. Mars retrograde doesn't happen every year. Mars is our ruler, so that's especially significant for us. And you can look up my resources, Annie Botticelli Mars retrograde, just to get a heads up about that. In general, I love Mars retrograde for Aries, which as we get closer to that, I'll tell you more about why. But it's just important to know that these retrogrades make the tone of the whole year inward and backward. Inward and backward isn't what Aries does best, or Aries does naturally. It doesn't mean you can't have an amazing time. When you sync up with the rhythms and you don't force things, then it can be a nice, welcome, easy relaxation compared to your normal personality. You know, I'm not saying that you're not going to have to work. I'm not saying that you're not, you know, won't have things to do, but it's like kind of a rest from yourself in a way in the retrograde time if you let it be. But between March 30th and April 9th, that's our only time for the remainder of 2020 where the planets are completely, where the sky is completely clear of personal planet retrogrades, and the shadow periods that occur just before and just after that tend to carry the same energy as the retrogrades. So if you have to do something important, if you want to have clarity and all these emotional things are getting you whacked out and you have to make a decision about some opportunity that comes to you, you know, sign contracts, make big decisions, have launches, like launch stuff out into the world, take action, the days between March 30th and April 9th are more clear for that because you don't have the web of the retrogrades. I love retrogrades for having woven your web and letting food come to you, which is something that may happen in March. You might have a whole bunch of stuff come your way, things that you've wanted, and if you can relax long enough to not be forcing other things, you can really enjoy the things that may come. Okay, so Saturn moving into Aquarius, I see this as actually before that, let me give you two more important dates. March 21st is the start of the astrological new year. That's when the sun gets into Aries. That's going to be your big time, you know? So if you, back to the wishes really quick too. Do a search for Annie Botticelli making wishes. And I have a video to help you use your birthday wishes in the best way, all right? So the sun in the sky, you get your wishes, it's happy, yay, this planet starts going into Aries. That's exciting because that's going to give you a boost. You've got some things to get through before you get there, but starting towards the end of the month, once the sun gets into Aries, we'll move from emotion to motion, and that's what we want, right? That's what we like. So if you kind of have it in your mind, okay, and he said just kind of like chill for a few weeks, things are going to open back up and be super fly awesome again for Aries as far as the things that we love, you know. Just sit tight towards the end of the month, but don't just kind of like bide your time. Try to be productive with your inner work, meditation, psychological assistance, you know, EFT, the emotional freedom technique, hypnosis. Use something to convert the gunk to yay. All right. So now Saturn moving into Aquarius is a very exciting thing for Aries. First of all, because for the whole time Saturn's been in Capricorn, it's been making an awkward angle to our placement. So that's been putting a lot of pressure on us. Saturn already represents pressure, but when it's in a difficult angle, it has more pressure. So we've had a lot of pressure in our place of, you know, fathers, father figures, career work, a lot of challenges, possibly also a lot of recognition and manifestation and advancement and accomplishment, but it's been at a tough angle. But Saturn in Aquarius is at a sweet angle for us. So the years that it's there, which are technically between 2020 and March 2023, but I'm going to explain to you how that's not exactly true. But when Saturn's in Aquarius, it's good for us because it's so much softer. But the thing to know is that Saturn does move in Aquarius, but it only gets up to 1 degree of Aquarius. That means that it's just starting to get going. So you all at the beginning of the sign or first few degrees, you'll start to get those like nice goodies from Saturn making a sweet aspect to your sign. And we'll all start to feel Saturn's effects in Aquarius. But it's staggered because Saturn is still going to be in Capricorn because it will retrograde back in. So it'll get to 1 degree, retrograde back into Capricorn, spend most of the year in Capricorn, and not go back into Aquarius until December. All right, so Capricorn, Saturn is not done yet. For those of you at the very end of the sign, you still have some more lessons to push through. The rest of you, the rest of us, Saturn has done its worst for us as far as making the hard aspect, unless you have planets in the late degree, in which case you're still having some more work to do. Don't fear it, just confront it with hard work, persistence, discipline. Saturn, that's all Saturn wants to hear. That's Saturn's language. So if you answer for the obstacles that come to you, the tests that come to you, to your work sector, to your career sector, to your home and family sector, especially all of these things, then you will get the gold. And Saturn does bring gifts when it leaves a house. It's just not going to leave this 10th house for any of us until 2021. All right, so there's still some more work to do. So I know what I just explained is a little bit complicated. You may have to listen to it more than once to understand it, but I like to go into more detail so that you're clear about what's happening. Okay, so we already established that we like Saturn in Aquarius because of the aspect it makes for Aries placements, but what does it mean when Saturn goes into the 11th house? Saturn's going to start whispering into the 11th house for those of you who are early in the sign, March born, or like 0 to, we'll say like 6 or so degrees, and then retrograde, right? And then for the rest of us, Saturn's not really going to start affecting our 11th house until between 2021 and 2023. But you should still listen to what I'm going to tell you about Saturn in the 11th house, because understanding that it's coming can help you to do things differently that may help you prepare better for that time. Saturn can bring hardships, pressure, tests, heaviness, obstacles wherever it goes. Remember that it can also bring outcomes, accomplishments, long-term stability, long-term outcomes, manifestations of major kinds. That's its spectrum, and it takes the hard work and discipline to move alchemically from the challenges into the sweet spot. The 11th house is the house of friendships. So your friendships, your friendship circles, your tribe will start to be under duress. You may have started to feel this because the planets that take really long to move around, even if it's not where it's going yet, we feel it. You know, it's like it's whispering in that way. So you might have started to feel those tests, your friends, your friendships, and that's going to be the theme that continues through the beginning of 2023. The ones that are solid will get more solid and will get more gold. The ones that are not will be tested. You may be able to make improvements to help them stay, but the ones that don't make the test, they may end. Some of your friends may have hardships, your friendships may, have challenges, and you might be questioning yourself more as part of the group and finding your place within the group. And that might be the quest for this time, is saying, where is my group? Where is my place? How do I fill it? How do I be part of this group? This also may be egging you on to get your work online. This is the 11th house rules technology, and it rules anything having to do with the internet. So this might be like, hey, in order to get moving, you've got to get your stuff online, get your online presence going. And if Saturn in the 10th already didn't do that, Saturn in the 11th might. All right, so that definitely could happen. Also, doing work with humanitarian efforts or large organizations, or putting pressure on your connections with those may be part of how the 11th house Saturn manifests. So in general, I'm excited about the movement of Saturn into Aquarius. Know that we do have a little bit of emotion that we have to get through before the motion comes back towards the end of the month. There's inner work that's needed for you to make the most of the sweet Aries time that's coming, starting towards the end of the month and into April. This is going to be really great and nice, back in the flow for Aries. Be present with your emotions, be present with the other people in your life, breathe, try not to react or make huge decisions until later in the month if possible. And those are the things that are most on my mind. Make the most of that open window between March 30th and April 9th. If you'd like to have the dates of the sweet aspects, the dates of the salty aspects, what those aspects are, what you can expect from them, into your inbox a month early, then sign up for my free email newsletter at anniehelpsyou.com. When you sign up for the newsletter, you get this write-up. I also do a general write-up of the month, including a retrograde special with all the dates of the retrogrades and the pre and post transit periods, so that you have it mapped out for the year, and other goodies that you get delivered into your inbox. You can also go to anniehelpsyou.com to see lots of blogs on astrology. I have a massive amount of information on Venus retrograde, which is coming. So that window between March 30th and April 9th, the reason why that window is because April 10th, the pre-shadow transit for Venus retrograde is coming. So you'll want to know, Venus rules love, beauty, and money. So you'll want to get prepped on that. So if you search for Annie Botticelli Venus retro or retrograde, you'll find my video on the topic, which is very informative. You'll find my blog series, and you can get prepped to understand how to best use that window, understanding what to not do during Venus retrograde. You can do it before then. And there's lots of other goodies there. If you'd like to learn to be an astrologer for professional purposes or just because you love astrology and you can't get enough of it, I have a course called Become a Professional Astrologer Mastery Course. And it's amazing for even those who don't want to do it professionally, but it's a wonderland of learning. It's so comprehensive, it will blow your mind. So you can see that at beastropro.com, beastropro.com, or at anniehelpsyou.com, or at my Luminous Life Multiversity School, where I have other courses, lumelife.com, L-U-M-E, life.com. All of these links are also in the notes underneath. If you click See More underneath the video, it will reveal these links. If you want written horoscopes by me and other blogs on how to most use the sun moving through the sign, yoga through the signs, tea through the signs, maximizing the sun's movement, CozyBySweetStarlight.com is a beautiful site that has all of this information. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.